Artur Beterbiev stops Anthony Yarde in the 8th round due to Yarde's corner thrown in the towel and retains his belts. And man, what an unbelievable fight. This fight was a war from round 1 all the way until the 8th round, in which he got stopped. But an incredible fight, and I felt going into the fight, I did pick Yarde to win. I wasn't surprised at the result. I did feel that with Beterbiev, he's the more established one. I did feel as it went later, it would favour him. But I tell you what, Yarde did very, very well. In my scorecard, so up until the stoppage, I actually had Yarde ahead by 1 round. And I gave 1, 2 to Yarde. I gave 3 and 4 to Beterbiev. And then round 5 I gave to Yarde. And I think round 5 was Yarde's best round of the fight. He caught Beterbiev with a right hand that I didn't seem to wobble him, but it got a reaction out of him. And how many people can you say do that to Beterbiev? Beterbiev is solid in there. I thought it was a good performance from Beterbiev. I think he showed some chinks, obviously, but Anthony Yarde's no slouch. He's a very, very horrible fighter. I don't want to hear any more slander about how he don't fight this guy, don't fight that guy. Anthony Yarde has fought either guys who weren't that good, or he's fought the elite. The only guy who's the outlander in that, in my opinion, is Lyndon Arthur. Everybody else he's fought has been one of those two. But every time he's fought the elite, he gave Kovalev problems in that 8th round and had him hurt. He had the same with Beterbiev. Nobody has made Beterbiev look like that ever, to be honest with you. And it was a hard fight for Beterbiev. I felt Beterbiev, once we got past the first 2, I didn't expect Yarde to start off quick, to be honest with you. But 3 and 4, he really started to take over. And I think it was the 4th, it looked like he had Yarde in a little bit of trouble. And then in the 5th round, though, that's when Yarde really came to life. And I think the left hook for Yarde, he was landing it perfectly every time he landed it over Beterbiev's overhand. And I think for Beterbiev, Yarde is so quick. For a guy that size, he's rapid with his hand speed. His footwork's very good. I think there's a lot with Anthony Yarde which causes these guys problems. And I think it's a horrible fight for anybody, to be honest with you. But yeah, an excellent fight though, and an absolute war. One of the best light heavyweight bouts we've seen in a very, very long time. And yeah, I'm interested to see what happens now in this division. I like to see Beterbiev against Bivol. Watching this fight, I do kind of think Bivol may box circles on Beterbiev. Beterbiev has to land. One thing about Beterbiev, I give him credit in this fight. Every time Yarde looked like he had him in a little bit of trouble, he came back and almost spun it on Yarde and had Yarde in the corner. And Yarde, he ate some decent shots, but you could kind of see in the 8th round when Beterbiev caught him, he kind of wobbled him and then landed the overhand, and the right didn't like completely drop him, but he stumbled and then went to his knees. So that's how you know he was hurt. He was wobbly, and he didn't look good when he got up either. Yarde, he looked like he was in trouble, and he then got up, and I'll be honest, Tunde Jai did him a favour. He was about to go out cold in that ring. It was a good job, that thing, because Beterbiev is a ruthless finisher and he's a vicious, vicious puncher. And now it's 19 out of 19, I'm pretty sure. So Beterbiev is a dangerous man, and him and Bivol will be an amazing fight. I think with him and Bivol, like I said, I just don't know. I'd be interested to see how Bivol copes with Beterbiev's power and how Beterbiev copes with Bivol's movement in there, because Bivol has very quite fast hands for that division, but he's also extremely active. Young, same as Yarde, so it'd be interesting to see how that does. I do think Bivol beats him, to be honest, but you know, Beterbiev's a dangerous guy, and if he catches you, he is done. And we haven't really seen Bivol wobbled recently, so Canelo couldn't really land anything on him. So yeah, I think it's a good fight either way. And for Yarde, I'd love to see him against Boazzi. If not, a Callum Smith, I think would be an interesting fight. Craig Richards, maybe there's a lot of good fights out there for Anthony Yarde, but a brilliant victory though for Beterbiev. And I also think that left hook was landing a lot for Yarde, and I think there's a lot of good things. The timing in this fight a little better in comparison to the Kovalev fight. He was active. He went after him from round 1 rather than waiting to get into the fight. The only problem that I think he had was, I think once Beterbiev started getting the timing, he looked like he was hurting Yarde with every single shot. And I don't know, Beterbiev, he's got that weird power. It's like his bones are made out of like vibranium or something. Every time he hits them, he just looks like he hurts you when he hits you. And there aren't many guys who have that ability. Golovkin was a similar one where it looked like every time Gennady Golovkin would hit you, it would just get a reaction. And He's one of those. There's some guys, they look like when they knock you out, they don't look like they're hitting you with much, but you can just tell that there is pure power, and that he's one of them. Beterbiev. A remarkable fight though. A war in there. These two guys went at it. They both would be up after the fight. For you, I don't think he has anything to be ashamed about. I thought he performed really well against him. He's obviously now 2-0 or 0-2 even in more title fights, but I think he can be more annoyed at the Kovalev fight than this fight. This fight, he performed very well in there, and he's problems to anybody. The only problem that he had the problem in this fight, I don't think, some people say he gassed out. I don't think he really gassed out. He didn't show any signs of fatigue to me in there. He just, I don't know, he just sort of, once Beterbiev picked up the timing, he just, he's, like I said, I think he's the better boxer, Beterbiev, and he hits harder. So to me, that was the major contributing factor in this one. And I also think with Yarde, one thing I give him credit, the pace that those two set in there. From round one, they were going for him. For light heavyweights, that says a lot, because how many light heavyweights can keep a pace like that? It was a remarkable fight, and neither guys gassed. Yarde had some excellent shots to the body, but I think the left hook was Yarde's money shot in this. But with Beterbiev, I said in the my preview, I felt the key for him was to establish the jab, and he didn't do it at first. But once he started landing, that's where he saw the shots. Because you land the jab, that's when the right hand can come over it. But I do think Beterbiev did very well though, and the uppercut especially was very brutal. And when he had Yarde in the corner, that's one thing. Every time Yarde had him, Beterbiev would turn tables and not necessarily fight fire or fire, but he almost would, and it worked so well in there. And the shots, the uppercut, you could just see Yarde could only eat so many shots. His eye was looking very, very bad as well in there at one point. I thought that might close up, but he was able to protect it well enough. The corner did a good job on it. Both guys were cut as well. I think Beterbiev was from a head clash, but Yarde had a little cut. I think it was above the nose. And I think also I don't know what eye it was, but it was a bit bruised. And obviously Beterbiev had it more around the eyebrow, sort of corner of the eye area, but you can see it was kind of bothering both of them. They both kind of constantly like jabbing at their face to try and get the blood off. So, but it wasn't really a factor, like I said, in the fight. I think it was again, one of these fights where you'd happily watch it. It's one of those fights. I rarely ever watch fights and kind of are desperate to watch again. But this one, it was such an excellent fight. Two guys who gave it all, absolutely went to war in there. And Tunde Ajayi, give him credit, he did, I think, the right thing in there. There's nothing I can really say about Anthony Yarde where I don't think he could have done much more differently. Maybe when he had him hurt, maybe pick his shots a bit better, but there's nothing really there. And I think Beterbiev has a chin, and that's one thing about Anthony Yarde. I feel the only way you can beat him or hang in there with him, you need to be as tough as him. Otherwise, he will blow you out of there. If you have a superior boxing skills, maybe you can make him miss, but Yarde's a good boxer. He's not just a wild puncher in there. He's someone who, you look at him fundamentally, he knows what to do. I mean, there was a few times he was hitting the shoulder roll on Beterbiev, and Beterbiev, he was making Beterbiev miss, and he has skill, yeah. That's one thing I've always liked about him. He's a perfect combination of skill and power. It's just about whether he has the gas tank at that level. Obviously, he was able to maintain it in this fight, but who knows if it went to later rounds, how would that do? It was more Beterbiev's power that was a problem for him. But yeah, a remarkable fight though. A war. These two can definitely be proud. I have two of the best in the division. For Yarde, I'd like to, like I said, Boatsi, Callum Smith, someone like that. Maybe a big British clash would be good. I think he can definitely be a world champion. Yarde, 31, he's got time. You just got to make sure there's not a lot of wear and tear on him, and just make sure that you learn from mistakes. He's fighting very, very good guys in Kovalev and Beterbiev. Ultimately, I always think with some fighters, when they take world title shots, they maybe fight a guy who's really good now, but that guy won't always be there. And I think Yarde's the future. Him and Boatsi, I think they can definitely be the two guys in the division once. I mean, Bivol's quite young, so he'll be there for a while, but once Beterbiev retires, I think I could definitely see him. I think Bivol might be a hard one for Yarde, but I do I fancy Yarde against most of these guys, to be honest with you. I think he's, like I said, that power and the explosiveness and the speed. I just don't know how a lot of these guys deal with it. I'd be interested to see how Boatsi deals with it. I think Boatsi's great, but I don't know. It's not an easy fight for anybody, Anthony Yarde. For Beterbiev, age is getting to him. He's slowing down, but he's still dangerous in there. And whilst I say age is getting to him, he is still performing at a consistent level. But eventually it catches up. As good as you can be, 5 times undefeated. He's closing to 40 now, so I think we'll definitely see against. I think should he fight Bivol, which is the fight we all want, that's where you may see after that fight maybe. But at the moment he's still on top of his game and he's still fighting amazing. And Anthony has a young lion, and the fact that he stopped him in the 8th round, the way he did, and he didn't just knock him down, he hurt him with that shot. The fact that Yarde had to stumble to his knees shows you how wobbled he was, and the fact that he made Tunde Ajayi, who's such a charismatic guy, like throw the towel, and shows you how dangerous this man is. Canelo Alvarez needs to stay away from Beterbiev. A lot of people say after this they think Canelo could do something. Trust me, Yarde's size is the reason, and his power and his speed. There's a lot of things that go in Yarde's favour in this one. Canelo's a different one. I do not want to see. I don't know how Canelo would cope. As much as he's got a good chin, I don't know how he would cope with the power of Beterbiev. I'll be honest with you. I think if he fought him, I know he fought Golovkin, but Golovkin's sort of his size, just maybe a bit bigger. Beterbiev is very, very big, and you can see that in there physically. He's like bone structure. It's just, like I said, he's just one of those guys. He just looks big, and he looks like he hits hard. Maybe it's something about, power's a weird thing. Sometimes you're just born with it, really. Genetically, it's there, but again, he's one of those. There's some guys who are heavy-handed, and there's guys who I feel like are hard hitters. Guys who are heavy-handed carry that power, but they haven't got that hard hitting. It's like Joshua is a heavy-handed fighter, but Wilder is a hard hitter where he hits you and you go, and that's what he has. Beterbiev. But yeah, amazing fighter, an amazing fight. At Wembley, it was a lot better than I thought it'd be. I thought it'd be a good fight, but this really lived up to expectation, and a brilliant way to start the year when it comes to these big world title fights. So yeah, Beterbiev Yarde, an amazing fight. Beterbiev gets it done. I want to see Bivol and Beterbiev be next, and I'd like to see Yarde against Buatsi next or something like that. So great fight, and yeah, until next time.